What's going on, guys? So today on this SHOKY review, we're taking a look at something new from the Flame Toys FuraiModel line. And it is, of course, the Transformers Devastator Kit. And yeah, it's a big boy. So this came out a couple months ago. I picked it up here somewhat locally from Space Cadets Comics, and not comics, but games. I'm trying to remember. Space Cadets. I forgot. I think it's games. Either way. So we have a Devastator here. We got some really nice artwork of explosions and things happening. All right, let's just address it. The styling is a little weird. It is what it is. It's got like a little bit of Studio Ox. It's got some definite Japanese influence, and very much not G1. It is what it is. Kind of have to get over it with Flame Toys. They take their aesthetic to a very different level. So, because it is Flame Toys kit, the box is always wonky. So we got Transformers, Devastator. Come on here, FuraiModel, close up of the Devastator face, which is interesting. And more Transformers, all things like that. And then we get all the stuff on the bottom. So we get Articulation. Hold on, I've got to adjust my lighting here. So, Articulation. Good articulation over 60 movable joints. Any pose can be easily set. That's probably not true. And one thing you'll definitely find out is this is not the color that it comes in. You got all kinds of stuff going on over here. You got kneeling pose there. Design, really modernized and shape optimized Devastator. Yeah. They lay out all the runners for you, including the translucent parts there. That's pretty cool. And of course, to show you painted versions that don't look anything like this. And another close up here of the thing. You can see some very brushed on silver, things like that. Somewhat thick red paint. Not bad though. Ages 15 and up, made in China. Cool. Flame Toys, all the things. Blue fin logo there. Plastic bag, all those things. And of course, it ends up upside down. You guys don't know how lucky that one was. Either way, so new Flame Toys kit, still upside down. I know no kind of artwork person, artist is usually what those people are called. So let's get to it. All right, so here we have the new Devi out here, and we're gonna have a little bit of some turntable time. Let's turn this light in just a little, and I gotta find a switch. It's back here somewhere. So, there is a build log for this guy. I'll probably have it out this weekend, hopefully. Tomorrow, in theory. So, if you're interested in seeing what it took to make this thing look like this, because this is not what it looks like out of the box at all. So, I used a different green, I used a different purple, I used a different red, I used a different black. I used yellow, which he doesn't even have in him. So, and different silver. All those things. So, yeah. Let's just talk about the build real quick. It is a fun build. But, big but, lots of color separation is necessary if you're going to paint him. And, of course, I've done more than my usual. The only thing I did not do on him yet was weathering. Of course, if you want to see all the stuff that I did, once again, build log. I go over it about as good as I can, including the paints list and stuff like that. But overall, I really did enjoy it, and I actually really like some of the engineering that he has going on. And he's very different, I mean, for lack of a better term. But that's enough spinny roundy. Let's get a closer look. Okay, so he is a big boy. So he is taller than the standard FuraiModel. So if we want to look at that quick comparison here, here he is with the IDW Prime, who's very dusty. I gotta work on that. So, IDW Prime was never a giant one, of course, but, the idea is that this Devastator is not remotely the size of a Devastator. He's only a little bit taller than Furai Prime. Or IDW Prime. So chest is just barely higher than chest, and the torso is roughly the same thickness. So he's supposed to scale with these characters, but not to them, if that makes any sense. So he's meant to be something that goes with them, but not in the same scale. more like a size class than anything else. So yeah, I painted a ton of detail in here, a lot of the things based off of the box, but let's just start with the head. And yeah, I'm trying to find a good balance of being in the light and not being in the light. It's kind of difficult at the moment here, because one, he's got plenty of shadows caused by himself. So the head is painted, although it doesn't really look like it. He does have a nice silver face. I did paint the eyes, although they are hidden behind that little bitty visor. If you want to remove the visor and just go with straight up eyes, you can do that. That's not a big deal. Once again, trying to get light into places. So his gigantic arms get in the way. So we have a nice little cab there. So if we go kind of by each Constructicon, so the hook section is actually really neat up here. We got lots of details painted, stuff like that. We got the light, like a big warning light here, that was completely translucent. I just hit that with some metallic red and then some clear, and then silver paint down here. Details, silver paint here, black paint there. That took some masking and just separating. Very nicely molded in. Decepticon logo. I don't know why I almost said Autobot. I was about to have to excuse myself for a second there. See, one thing that's neat, you get up under there and you get the tires, stuff like that. They're big knobbly tires, a lot like Bumblebee had. You get some kind of big tires here on the things down there. I guess I'm just showing off color separation. This is one of those times where I'm awkward because, one, the camera is really messing with how everything looks. Plus, his big stuff is really hard to, you know, show off. So here, I'm going to pull off this shoulder cannon real quick. I'm going to try to tuck that down a little bit, see what I can get going here. I don't want direct light, but I guess it helps if I have it here. So each individual Constructicon is detailed really well. Scavenger is by far the best. He's almost a complete scavenger by himself. And then you can see here, I've added a lot of paint between the black here, all of that. None of this was meant to have color, except for the windows right there. Those come with stickers. This is supposed to be like a grayish plastic with the silver. Got some nice rubber black here for the treads, silver for the arms, matte black for the joints, and semi-gloss black for the arms and the head up there. And these little bits here, those are actually semi-gloss as well. The chest parts here are on ball joints to help you move that around. Just be careful. It is what it is. I guess I'll try to do articulation as I'm going. So the ball joint inside the neck allows you to just look up like that, and it is kind of hinged at the bottom. That's neat. The chest actually has a little bit of a butterfly, which is neat, not gonna lie. And then when you come back here to the actual shoulder joint, which is in there, there's also butterfly movement there. So you get a lot of movement out of those shoulders. And then on top of that, you get a double hinge area here along with the swivel for the arm. So it can turn here and it can turn there. So you can really get some movement and clearance if you need it, which in some cases you do, because even these treads here are on a pivot, but they interfere with the big shovel bit here, and they have a swivel as well, so you can kind of fill in gaps. We got some more caution stripes there. That's the least good paint job on the whole thing. And then a little ladder there, painted red windows come around there. You get a nice little red mistake that I couldn't quite cover. Also didn't try, just being honest. Come back here and you actually get the dump bed for long haul that is bumped up to be here, just like on the real thing, so to speak. This is an unnecessary job, but I wanted that to be broken up, so I painted that grill and I painted these tanks. That's all one piece, so that took some masking. Black paint here for the spine, you know me, I just did that because. And then actually if you come up to the front using his torso joints, which he has a couple, you see I did some more black inside there just to break that up. You get long haul's front end here with some matte black hand painted in there and a masked off silver for the bumper. All unnecessary, just things I wanted to do to have a little bit less green. This is actually mounted on a ball joint on a hinge, so you can get some clearance like way out here if you want to like really bend him over quite a bit. And then, like I said, these things move around so you can fill in gaps and cover up things like that however you want to do it. It does have torso rotation, just be wary of what you're doing. There's also a neat thing down here, so you come down to these nifty side skirt or front skirts, I should say, and if you need some clearance, so I can grab it, this front section just slides out just a little bit, give you a little more clearance for the legs. Not only that, it looks pretty neat. You can see down here, so the entire crotchetal section down there is matte black as well. You have the hip skirt slash tires here, which this is interesting. So this is a hinge there. These are on their own swivel, and then the tires themselves are on their own swivel. So you can really kind of maneuver things however you're willing to. Add that extra purple paint just to break up the sheer amount of green. By the way, this is a really nice green. It is just a candy lime green from Tamiya. I love it. I love it a lot. Came out really nice. So it actually has almost a goldish reflection in the light, so almost get some G1 flavor in there. You got movable back skirts, which is always good. A tiny bit of silver back here on the butt. The hips are drop downs, so you can get some movement. Just be wary. I did clearance it before paint so that they wouldn't get all nice and stuck. And you do have the ever famous polycaps in the hips, so just know that those will eventually start failing on you. So if you need that to get out, you can get him a very chunky course line there. If you notice that the hip is swiveling instead of that, you also get hip rotation, which is good, or thigh rotation I should say. Big meaty purple thighs. And then we can get some crud. I don't know what that is. Fell out of somewhere. Okay, he does have a double jointed knee, I think. It does seem like it wants to be, but maybe it is just a single joint. But I was fairly certain this moved. So this little silver piece back here is on hinges, but I think the knee is stuck. If I'm totally honest with you guys. There it goes. Okay, so the way that the legs sandwich together, those knees are super tight inside here. You can see I've even got some paint rub. I did do what I could to clearance that, but that is a super, super tight thing. So just know that you're getting into a very hefty knee joint there. Now, this would be a sticker right here. So I painted it silver instead of using the chrome sticker. I added the yellow into here just to break things up. Same thing there. I did paint that on by hand, which was a giant pain in my ass, and that's why it's not the cleanest job ever. And if you come down here to the Mixmaster section, he does have this big singular window that was painted on in there, and then a black window frame painted on. This little silver piece is a separate one. Then I added a little bit of silver details right there just to break it up. So you do get movement here in the toes. It does have a nice little hinge, but nothing crazy. Little rotation. Same thing back here on the heel. So the heel and the front of the foot both can move sort of independently. The ankle is super tight. It is just a normal hinge joint up here and then a ball joint down here. It is really tight due to the paint, so hopefully it should stand up. It just a little bit of metallic red back here, almost like backup lights. Not the cleanest paint job in the world. Let's come over to Scrapper. I already pointed out the wheels. The silver is hand painted over rubber black tires. One thing I think I did screw up. I think this stripe here was meant to be purple, not black. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but I think I screwed that up. His windows in here are painted red, even the one up here. And you'll notice that cockpit, so to speak, is facing the wrong way. Don't know why they did that. Now, his foot is actually different. So the back section is roughly the same as that. So it can still rotate, but you get these extended bits here, which are very interesting. So these are on hinges and rotation joints, and this is actually a complex, like a 3-part hinge here for the toes, so that you can actually like really get some movement. I don't understand why they did this, but it's cool. Add a little bit of yellow paint here in the grooves, masked off to make this part silver. If you look at the box, it's supposed to be silver. This was a silver piece. I just, did that. A little bit of silver detailing there, a little bit of yellow detailing there, just to break up the green. I really do feel that those are things that it needs. But you can see he can get into some interesting trouble with the posing. I'm not going to go too crazy with how I pose him, so it doesn't really matter. I didn't go over the arms. I know. I went straight down to the legs. So we started talking about the articulation here. So that's a nice little joint that goes up in there. Once again, this guy does have a cockpit that's facing the wrong way. Shovel's facing that way. Those things are going there. For some reason, the cockpit is facing the wrong way. It's almost like they went... So that would be an interesting mod, to cut this out and make it face the right direction if you were so inclined. The shoulder joint can get you up to there. Once again, the warning area there, the hazard stripes are up to you. I did that with some masking and then hand painting. So that can get you there. We got some bicep rotation. That's just a simple, very simple peg joint. And then you get a double jointed elbow that was clearanced. You can still see some rub, but it is what it is. Silver paint comes off fairly easy, let's just be honest. Even when it's clearanced. I liked this. It really confused me as to why this was curved the way it was and assembled the way it is. But now knowing that it's meant to have the biceps do that on purpose, totally makes sense. The hands do have a hinge here and then a ball joint. And just so you can see this, that's the original color that was supposed to be. So expressive hands, painted purple, a little bit of black paint there just to break it up. But then, of course, you do have some fisty fists, if you're so inclined. So it just depends on what you're going for. Let's pull those out. And this actually fits fairly nice. Not gonna lie, I dig that. Okay, so let's go back to Scavenger. I talked about him earlier. So tank treads are really nice, articulated the same way that one is. So just be careful so they're not running into things. The black paint here was just a choice. I'm still second guessing it to some degree, even though I think it does look fine. Same thing up under here, just a little bit of black paint added, just some warning stripes there because for some reason I saw that was textured. I'm like, let's do that. Added a tiny bit of yellow paint there just to make it stand out. Silver paint here on the big pistons, more silver paint on the internal piston. But what's neat is this is an articulated boom arm. Look at this. So that can actually do some stuff. Look at that. They didn't need to do that. But like I said, Scavenger is about the only one that's like truly his actual vehicle form, which is cool. You can actually really compact it up too. So that is what you want to do. And like I said, this guy does move. It does rotate a little bit. Now for weapons, he only has the one, the shoulder cannon. So instead of having the crane thing, they gave him a shoulder cannon. That's fine. It is what it is. Just added some silver paint back here, black paint back here, tiny bit of yellow paint right there. And then instead of using the sticker, I just hand painted the metallic red in there. So there are no stickers applied to the guy. This is all hand painted or spray painted. And one thing is, so if you really want to, you could swap these. You can put the crane there. You could put the thing here. There's another hole there, but there's nothing to go in it, so to speak. I mean, you can put the cannon there, but it's kind of pointless, obviously. Like that. Did I show that the dump thingy does work? Like that. Which is a neat tool. I will say that this little guy here doesn't really fit. Like it's a super loose thing. But overall, this was a fun build. I like the design. It's a little weird, but I like it. The only main things that I complain about is interferences with certain things, especially when it comes to the legs. There's a massive amount of interference in that knee joint. It is way too tight because of it. And if you're going to build it out of the box, you're going to be pretty disappointed. I'm going to be honest. The colors are so wonky. The green isn't terrible, but it is not Devastator green. Now, this isn't either. This green was bought because I thought it was similar to how it came out of the box. And I did just apply it straight over the factory green. You guys should know by now with my Flame Toy stuff, I just paint straight on the plastic. There ain't no priming unless it's totally necessary. You know, for I'm doing a major color change. But for the most part, this took about 4 or 5 days to complete, just on my normal schedule with everything else going on in life. Very nice articulation, very nice attention to details, and the engineering is interesting. And, you know, the fact that they kind of replicate each part of him is different. Now, some people were complaining about the cost, and somebody in the comments of the unboxing video made the obvious point. This guy doesn't have replicated parts all over like a lot of model kits do. You know, he's got the thighs, the joints, the arms, a few parts like the here on the chest, stuff like that, that are all similar, if not repeated. But everything else is individual new parts. He's made up of new stuff in every direction, you know, so that's going to get more costly. And you know what? He's oversized, you know, comparatively. You know, and he's good. You know, he's going to have the same problems that all the other Flame Toys kits have. The ball joint, or I'm sorry, the polycab joints are going to suck over time. And there's not a good way around that until somebody starts coming out with recast parts for that. So it is what it is. But guys, let me know what you think down below. If you've built him, let me know if you did anything different to yours. And like I said, if you want to know more about how I got mine here to make it look like this, there will be the build log, so go watch that. You know, I'll try to condense it into one video. Just watch the whole thing instead of a series of videos. So it is what it is. The only thing I really wish he had was his gun, like his, you know, quintessential Devastator gun. And it's sad that they didn't give it. I do want another one to do a G2 color scheme, though I'm sure they'll give us one in the G2 color scheme, you know, the yellow. But, you know, it is what it is. So I will catch you guys next time. And remember, as always, keep on building or constructing.